What's going on, man?
Very little, man. How you doing, brother?
Doing good. This this is my time of year. I don't know why it is, but for some reason, losing. And I know I probably but Josh's annual having to listen to of my speech was like, I'm telling you, man, losing the hour, my body adjusts to that better than gaining one. When I gain an hour, my sleep is screwed up for a week. But when I lose that hour, and 7:30 in the evening is what 7:30 in the evening is supposed to look like this time of year. I just feel better.
I can dig it. I can dig it, man. I am. Most of my people are more into this one,
Hmm.
and I can dig that totally. I love it when it's pitch black at 5 in the afternoon, but
Hmm.
it's ridiculous. So I
Yeah,
wish that we would just go to this and stop because daylight saving is such a stupid thing for us to still be doing anyway.
yeah,
And because, like you said, man, 7:30 looks like 7:30, and I know when it's pitch black at 5 o'clock, that's just dumb. I like it, but it's dumb. So I'm good with this. We'll take this one and just. I wish we would just leave it alone, man. But
it's
I'm with you. Normally, I got really lucky this year because usually losing the hour just pile drives me. But
mhm.
it's the next day. So I
Yeah,
got my work done today, and I'm off tomorrow. So if it catches up with me like it normally does, hey, I can sleep in tomorrow. So that's cool. But normally it's only one day, and it's usually just the next one. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's see if we can keep with that.
yeah. And the morning of going back to standard time can kind of be a pain in the butt, but if you prepare enough the day before, it it's not as bad. But I'm telling you, man, I snap back a lot better with this time change. And
I can dig it.
I noticed that the daylight savings time was put into practice 100 years ago, and uh, there were a lot more farmers that wanted free labor from their kids. Are there really that many around these
Uh,
days? Why is it necessary?
that's where I'm at. I don't understand. And so hopefully we'll get that changed. But in the meantime, at least we're back on the good time and like, okay, this is good.
And I've heard that the if you don't know the state of Georgia that we live in, as years ago had a vote to try to abolish it, or I don't know if that's the right term you want to use, but we're going to put an end to this. We're going to take on everybody, but to do away with it, and yeah, it got voted in, but it's kind of like, yeah, we voted it in, not going to do it. So I
Yeah.
don't know if it's like a so many years ahead we have to plan to do this, and I don't know how there's some states that I think it's Arizona is one of the states that doesn't observe it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how does that not screw up your TV shows and the times that come on and stuff? I just never have understood how you can do that, but I'd like to find out. That's what I'm
It's
trying to say.
seriously, because Arizona's special and they can do whatever the hell they want to. Good for them because
Mhm.
it's just dumb. So good on them.
And part of the reason why it would be a big hassle for people like us is we're really close to a bordering state that's already an hour behind us
Uh
from the
huh.
get go. And like, is that going to make it 2 hours difference? And what's I don't know.
Don't go to Alabama for nothing.
No, stay away. They close early. Keep out from over there.
Alabama closes too damn early.
Oh my God, man. Well, one thing that I've done uh, constructive since the last time I sat down and talked with you is I did go check out a new movie film. I was one of the people that I just had to go find out when it comes to the Batman movie. And
What are your personal opinions on Batman as a character? How do you feel about him?
I love Batman. You know, I love Batman.
Thank you, man. I was trying to serve that one up. I was like, he's gonna get this. So I'm glad that
I just no one's comes to save him.
I
I love
swear I was just gonna say, is anybody coming to save him?
it. it. I was really. I broke one of my rules. I don't not into the live action DC stuff. If the I'm gonna watch a DC, maybe it's gonna be one of the animated stories that they've done, and I would be lying if I said it wasn't good as hell. It really, to me, was good, and part of To be blunt, part of my biggest reserve was that I don't know about Robert Pattinson
Yeah.
uh, make, making a good Bruce Wayne. There are certain characters, like if you're going to cast Superman, you have to consider there's two roles. To me, Dean Cain, really good Superman, pretty shitty Clark Kent. Uh, Henry Cavill, you know, I like a Superman, not so much, but the Clark Kent. But anyway, point is, uh, going into playing the character like the Batman, is I was fairly confident the Batman side is going to be taken care of. I'm just not so much into. I knew it was going to be emo Bruce Wayne just from the trailers, but honest to God, when they let you know up front that this is very early on, year two, Bruce Wayne, it makes a lot of sense. It really does. And another thing I got to point out right from Jump Street, how stupid I felt when I realized this. Had no idea. The Batman directed by Matt Reeves, the same director that directed the cool version of Planet of the Apes a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
And speaking of DC, that's fucking Christopher Reeve's kid.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
I had no idea. I had no idea. And but to get back to what makes this one so good is the best description, because it's very very similar to if the Christopher Nolan versions had continued. At least that's how I felt, which is kind of what I wanted because I like those so much. But the best way I've heard it put, I want to say, came from an interview I was listening to with Mark Bernardin and Kevin Smith, where they said the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy put Batman into the real world. This movie makes Batman's world real, and it'll make a lot of sense when you see it. And it's just uh, I don't know, part of I have the same criticism that everybody has with the movie. Like going into it, uh, it's a long one, but it's not so terrible that it's like, "Oh, I just can't watch it. But and honestly, immediately after watching it, I tried to go back to my head and be like, maybe it's a little slow in the beginning, but when it comes to what could they really cut out, there's really not a whole lot they could, because it's a lot of stuff to pack in to this story, and you're really playing up my alley when you are doing a story that's pretty close to the Long Halloween storyline. And I think Christopher Nolan kind of tiptoed around that with the Dark Knight a little bit, but this is a little bit closer. And I want to there was a story arc that was Batman Earth 2 or whatever it was called that they said they borrowed a lot from, but uh, I dug it a ton, and definitely think it's worth a look at. Uh, I'm still not convinced that is Colin Farrell as the Penguin, because he's just unrecognizable.
He's just gone.
He just, I mean, I want to see the step by step, shot by shot adding of the makeup, because even when you see him on screen and you see the side by side pictures, it's like, it's not him.
That's not that guy.
Yeah, it's not even close. And then, man, Colin Farrell's another one that's like, man, you could tell he loved being hid in that makeup because he is so freaking good as the Penguin. And another one that's getting forgotten about, and one of the, speaking of Long Halloween, one of the characters I've liked a ton is Carmine. I prefer the pronunciation Falcone. In this movie, he's Falcone, whatever. But freaking John Turturro.
Oh yeah,
is playing him. So it's like, oh man, y'all care.
Yeah, see, that's my thing. I've said it for years. I'll stand by it. The thing about the Christopher Nolan Batman that jumped out to me was not Bruce, not Batman, none of the girls, because Christopher Nolan can't direct women, doesn't care to. As long as you look
Mhm.
pretty walking through the airport in your cool hat, that's all he cares about.
Yeah.
Um, not Heath Ledger, not anybody. The thing about those movies that I love is if you give enough of a shit to cast Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon, that's how
Mhm.
come your movies are so good. And they got Jeffrey Wright, so I'm all like,
Oh,
yes, this is
and that's
fantastic. Yes, your Batman will always anymore. The Batman stories now, I think, will be judged initially, at least by me, on who's playing Alfred, who's playing Gordon. Because man, you
mhm.
get those two right, it means you actually care. And to your point that you were making earlier, man, if you actually, as I think the biggest thing with the Bruce Wayne character is when have they ever explored that character? Ever. Ever.
Yeah.
The only person that ever got anything to do as Bruce Wayne was uh, Patrick Bateman, God, his name, Christian Bale.
Yeah.
And it was just him being a drunken idiot going, and
Mhm.
I love that. That's an awesome
Yeah.
way to do it because no one would ever believe that this guy, it's like, yeah, throw him off the scent. I love that.
Mhm.
They didn't need to do that very often. That's
Yeah.
cool. If you really want to like dive into Bruce, cool, knock that shit out. I like it. That's cool, and that's all I've heard. I mean, everybody is
Mhm.
like gushing about how great it is, and I'm glad that they're basically DC. This is the thing. They use the same formula for every single comic book movie that they make. Just keep making Batman. It works. Make it
Yeah.
bleak, make it crazy, put weird lights on it, make the villains sound scary. It's
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Everybody likes it. So you can keep doing that forever and ever. Because despite everybody will tell you that Superman's the most boring character ever, I got news for you. Batman's a hell of a lot more just ABC than Superman will ever be because you get way, in my opinion, you get way more interesting stories to Superman. You gotta wait a long time for him because there's a lot that are crap.
Mhm.
Batman has a lot more stories that are more interesting, but it's always the same thing, and that's okay. That is
Yeah.
okay. You do not need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to. I'm hoping that they learned their lesson with Jared Leto's Joker. It's like, no, people don't want anything different.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. It's like it would be like if when Peter Jackson did the Beatles movie for Disney Plus, if he changed the soundtrack. Ain't nobody
Yeah.
showing up to hear songs by anybody else. People go to
Yeah, man.
Batman to see Batman, so it's
Mhm.
okay to give it to him. And I'm glad it worked. I think that's real cool, man.
Mhm. And that's another one I forgot to mention. Is talking about Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. It's so good.
Oh yeah.
Uh, that he's there, and it works, man, because it feels like, man, these two are, lock sync,
Hmm.
gonna take on the bat, and I honestly, some one of the one of the two bits glimpses of levity in this movie comes from Commissioner Gordon. It's when it's Batman and Commissioner Gordon meet up because they see the bat signal lit, and they're both like, "Wait a minute, we're both here down on the ground floor. Who lit that?" And they're both doing that thing like, "I thought it was you. I thought it was you." And so they kind of know, like, okay, we're going into a dangerous situation up here, and they're getting ready to go up and see who's at the top of this uh, building that we always meet at. And Jeffrey Rush does his Commissioner Gordon cop gun thing, and it's Robert Pattinson's Batman. No guns. It's like, man, that's your thing, you know. And the other funny thing is you have and I want to say this is probably close to when first little bit of levity. So it's kind of like, wait, does this turn into a comedy now? Uh, you have Batman and Christopher Gordon have interrogated the Penguin right there on the street, and part of what they're showing him is like that's the killer in the movie is hunting down all these high-ranking members of Gotham, and bringing out the truth. So they're showing some of the photos of one of the recent guys in the Gotham PD that's been killed, and they're showing it to the Penguin, and just his reaction is like, "Oh God, what you showing me that for? Oh God."
That's awesome. Hardened criminal, but I don't need to see that.
God. And so Batman and Commissioner Gordon get more back into their police work that they're doing right there, and you kind of forget about it too, because as they realize what they have to go do next, they're going off to the Batmobile and his squad cars. They look back over, and the Penguin's like, "I'm still here. He's gonna leave me." So it's definitely tons of fun, and Paul Dano as the Riddler is definitely out there. Definitely, some of the Riddler stuff in the movies, like, man, this is too close to some really terrible crap that's been going on here recently. When he gets a little Riddler on, and there's some people out there in Gotham City like, I think the Riddler's right. It's like, oh God, and it gets people to his cause. It's like, oh man, this is a little bit. I need a little bit more of an escape than this, but at the same time, it's still really good. That's what I'm trying to say. And one of the sad things I thought was it was almost like false advertising, as announcing that Andy Serkis is playing Alfred, because Joker's barely in the damn thing, and that was the biggest crime of this movie, because he's so freaking good and does a lot with very, very little in this movie. But man, it still works. So that's you're gonna, because part of what I thought, okay, you got this, I think it's officially 2:56. That's close enough to 3 hours. Everybody's calling it 3 hours, but you cast Zoe Kravitz as the Catwoman, which hurts nothing, good to look at. But there's a lot of early on her storyline and trying to track down her girlfriend. I'm like, man, we could probably push the gas on this a little bit more, but that's the only thing I could see that, like, okay, get on with it. It's kind of part of the movie, but it's really not a whole lot of stuff. And I've heard some people, try to poke holes in it. It's like, man, look, even the Christopher Nolan Batman stuff, there's some plot holes in that Joker that you can drive a truck through. This one to me was, really pretty tight as far as it. There's some stuff in the third act that's like, where did this come from? But I think they kind of got some notes and like, hey man, we need a big Batman saves the day kind of thing in the last part of the movie. That's kind of, oh yeah, that's where this kind of came from out of nowhere.
Yeah, we talked about that before. Stuff like that happens, man. I know people would just we love to throw the directors under the bus, and we have a good old time doing that. But a lot of times the producers are all like, no, it's right here. It's right here. I don't give a shit what your script says. My contract says you're going to do A and B and C and D. So hop to. The best example, and I don't even know if this is an example. It's a gut feeling thing. It's just what I believe. But anyone that has ever discussed Scott Pilgrim versus the World with me knows I do not care for that movie, especially the way it ends. Because Ramona Flowers has made it very clear for the entire movie she does not want to go out with you. The entire movie is her explaining why she doesn't want to go out with you. So Scott being left on his ass by knives and then not getting the girl is the ending that we should have gotten.
Yeah.
And I think Edgar Wright wanted to give us that ending, and the studio said, no fucking way. The guy and the girl have to wind up together, so make it. I truly believe that, and maybe that's giving Edgar too much credit. But I don't believe for 1 second that was his idea. That just felt like a very contrived, horseshitty ending. Because, man, what we just described is way better. And it's like, nah, I don't think that's on Edgar. Edgar's made too many movies that are actually quite good. I just don't believe it. I think maybe it was one of those situations where he liked the rest of the movie so much, it's all like, whatever it takes to keep this intact, and that's okay too. That is totally all right to make that decision. Pardon me, but something I liked, and this is from not having seen it yet, but I like Catwoman and Penguin being on the slate together again. Just reminds me of Burton and the Batman Returns, which was my favorite. It's probably
so this in 1992.
Yeah, I do. Seriously, that's probably my favorite of all the Batman movies, except maybe I love Dark Knight Rises, man. And again, it's got problems, but I like Last Jedi, and it's got huge problems. But I just thought Dark Knight Rises, the crap that I like in it, I really liked. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, yeah, right on. That's cool.
Yeah, man. And that's one of the funny things is, it's a Riddler story, so it's got to be riddles. I want to see my version of Batman that I would direct is the reason why it would be 3 hours is Batman gets that first riddle. He's like, I got no clue. God damn, I got to. What would you just tell me what it is?
Why don't you just tell me?
When they put one of the riddles in the trailer when it debuted, like Comic-Con or whatever, and instantly the internet was like, "This is it." So they took those out of all the subsequent ones. So like, yeah, we're not having this. Everything gets spoiled because they're pretty easy. But I saw that version of Batman. It's like, I don't get it. I don't know what to do.
I thought he was the world's greatest detective. Well, that's not the same.
I said it's you too, damn it.
Seriously. It's not the same. These are riddles. Those are stupid.
I don't know what that is. What am I gonna do? But that is one of kind of the fun things about this movie is that Batman is and they make it clear that he's still new at this, but he's still kind of like warming up. The only person in the police department that has anything to do with him is Commissioner Gordon, even to the point that Batman is there with him at crime scenes, and some of the police officers like, what the hell is this?
Doing, man?
This is freaky. What the hell? And really, I don't know if this has been. I'm certain this has been done in the books, but just some of the tech that Batman has in this movie is like, man, that is never been done on screen before, and really freaking cool. Just that he has contact lenses that he wears that records everything. Sees everything. Because he's still new in the game. He has to go back and review footage, and go back and I just thought, man, that was just like hella cool. That I'm certain it's been done in the books before, but I had forgotten it. And when I saw it live, in live action, I was like, man, that is neat.
Yeah, that's
a good idea.
Seriously, I agree.
So stuff like that I just thought was, man, that's hella cool. And there's a big part of it's Long Halloween. Plus, when it comes to the Riddler, it's it's 7. Is kind of what he's going for. Even down to, it's not so much. And another thing that makes it year 2 in Batman's early game is it's not even so much Batman solving the case. It's somebody doing it for him, and the Riddler being like, you didn't come get me. I came to you. All, Kevin Spacey at the end of 7, and, just to set up further events to come. And I just, I definitely dug it a ton. And, if you remotely like the Christopher Nolan stuff, then I think you'll really dig this new version.
I can dig it. That's cool, man. I've seen one of the review for it, and I think my brother's coming over tomorrow to talk about it, so I'm looking forward to his take on it. And because he and I are on the same page with Dark Knight Rises, we love that one. So I'm excited to get everybody I've talked to that's seen it is all like, no, man, you got to watch it. Because everybody that knows me knows I am not a Batman guy. I mean, I haven't missed any of the movies, so I'm getting the feeling that people really like it. So it's like, no, you got to check this out. It's real good. Because I'll watch it eventually, definitely. But it just seems like with the gentle nudging that I'm getting, that it's more personal, and it's not, no, you need to watch this. It's like, dude, I really liked this, so check it out, because I think it's real good. So that's awesome. I think that's pretty cool.
I tapped out on the DC movies after Batman versus Superman, and as far as seeing them in the theater, I'm pretty sure I eventually saw Wonder Woman, but I don't think I saw. Maybe I went to the theater to see it. I don't know. If I did, it was very late in the game, and was done after that. And everything they've done since then, it's not that I didn't see it in the theater. I didn't see it. Period.
Yeah, I don't remember the last DC movie that I saw. And honestly, I know this is a crazy thing to say. Batman doesn't count. Batman movies, they don't count. Well, maybe Batman versus Superman, because that was the whole Justice League thing. But we talked about it, man. My thing with that one was I was done the first time I saw the teaser poster. Because, okay, Batman versus Superman. Okay, they're literally going to make book 4 of Dark Knight Returns because Batman can beat up Superman. That literally is your premise for the movie. Okay, well, I'm kind of pretty much out instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Then you call it Batman versus Superman. Well, you've given one of them top billing. That's a mistake. The poster comes out, and it's Gal Gadot. And it's like, okay, you have Wonder Woman in this movie. In a movie that establishes top billing, second billing, no billing. With fucking Wonder Woman, the fact that you didn't have the little stupid logo thing that they had with a freaking W on it somewhere and call the movie Trinity Dawn of Justice, I'd have been all in on that. But you cannot. First of all, giving Superman second billing to Batman is stupid. Giving both of them name recognition, putting Wonder Woman on the poster, but get the fuck out of here. Because clearly, if you don't give Wonder Woman equal footing with them, you're an idiot. You're a fucking moron. If you know anything about those characters, you just Trinity Dawn of Justice. I'm telling you, that just even sounds cooler, doesn't it? I mean, come on.
I like it.
That just absolutely turned me off from jump. I've never seen that movie and never will. The only Affleck crap I've seen is watching the Joss Whedon versus what the hell's his name? Snyder
Cut
stuff. Yeah, and it's pardon me. I know I'm very biased in this, but I'm here to tell you the confrontation, if you will, between Superman and Batman. Joss is hella better, because Snyder's is just so fucking dumb, and it's like literally Lois comes out of nowhere. And basically, I get it. I totally understand there's a big faction of people that like the Snyder one better. And I know why. It's because Joss Whedon thinks Bruce Wayne is a fucking piece of shit. And he has no problem putting that in the movie. Same thing he got in trouble for right in X-Men. Because whenever he made Logan a little kid, people were fucking mad.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because they've got no imagination, and heaven forbid your guy be underneath for a minute, because we've seen it, we've read it, we've both read it, we've talked about it. When Logan is all scared to death and he's a little prim and proper English schoolboy and he bounces back into the wall and that beer falls down and hits him in the head, and just the way it's drawn, where it's just like he's all like in the background and it's kind of blurry, and then the very next panel is the exact same thing, but it's all clear. That is dope as shit. If you understand what's going on, which everyone does. I understand it hurts your feelings to be down because, God, heaven forbid, Wolverine ever not be on top. But that shit was cool. That was really, really neat. But whenever Lois does show up to save Bruce and Superman chucks his ass like a it's like a sack of shit, people that's what people got mad about. Is Superman just tossing old Bruce Wayne like he's fucking useless. He is. People get all mad about that. Oh, proper time to prepare. Why would Superman give him that? Get the fuck out of here, man. That's the stupidest thing. People always go crazy about, he's got no superpowers. He's just a normal guy. Okay, then carry that same energy into the conversation. This is ridiculous. It's fun that Batman's not dead. It's completely illogical, but it's also a comic book, so who cares? As long as it's fun, that's cool. But one little time, he goes toe-to-toe with Clark, and Clark fucked him up just like he would. And people got huffy. So, Snyder Cut's definitive. The Snyder Cut's better. It's like, No, it ain't. You watch them side by side.
Mhm.
It's not even close. It's
And
not even close, man.
even if there's one problem I've always had with any of the Justice League books, uh, TV shows, and now the movie, is the fact that Superman's there. Period. I'm just like,
Exactly.
why would he be hanging out with these losers? He can do all this himself.
Exactly. Superman hangs out with the Justice League for the same reason he goes to the fucking Daily Planet and cashes his paychecks. It is for camaraderie. That's it.
Mhm.
That's it. He doesn't go to hang out with other people. He just that's the only reason he goes. He doesn't go because he needs anybody else. He goes because he wants to hang out.
Yeah.
That's it. But Diana's the exact same way. Wonder Woman's the
Mhm.
same way. Wonder Woman ain't no fucking help. She's Wonder Woman. Fuck
Yeah.
out of here. Anyway, stuff like that frustrates me a lot. But that is again, as I got watching because I was with all the Snyder cut stuff. I'm like, well, as long as he keeps Superman cutting eyes at the Flash in that scene, that's cool because that is cool. That's very very cool. Um, but that's the only part of that movie I've actually seen. And then, like I said, I watched it because it was I just love him watching the Flash like fuck you going. I love that. That just
Yeah.
made my day. But that was before I found out that well, you got to watch the scene with Bruce, and I'm like, oh my god, and I did, and I'm like, this is terrible. And then I watched the Snyder one, and I'm like, wow, how you made that worse? I'll never. And it's weird because there's parts of it that are better, but all the oh boy, there's man, when it's bad, it's bad. Anyway, I'm being ridiculous because it's just to pile on to what you were saying. The DC stuff is not appealing. It's just
Mhm.
not. But again, that's the DC stuff. Batman does not count, and the one that just came out doesn't count because, as far as if they can script Robert Pattinson into the Justice League, okay then. But that's not the case right now, so still its own thing.
That's kind of, and I think they're kind of liking that.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it, seriously, because one day when you wake up and decide to start cutting your damn losses, you're still going to want to make a Batman movie about every 3 years. So, no problem. That's cool.
Yeah, man. So that's definitely, uh, very clearly wide open for more stories to go forward at the end of this one, which is, exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah,
So,
man.
but definitely tons of fun. Worth the ride to the old movie show to go check it out. One of the fun things I got to see uh, before the movie started, it was fun to see the Baz Luhrmann Elvis trailer on the big screen. So I got a big kick out of that. So I'm
I
looking forward to
completely.
that hardcore.
Oh God, me too. I cannot wait to see that. I'm very excited. Weirdly enough, maybe not weirdly enough. I guess the weird part of it is that I can actually say the thing I'm most excited about with the Elvis movie. But the thing I am most excited about is when you watch the preview, and here goes another one where it's like, oh, it's 3 hours and 15 minutes. Well, to piggyback on what you were saying about Batman, and I'll say it about Elvis too. The thing I'm most excited about with the Elvis movie is that it covers all of it. That's it.
Yeah.
Because, I know everybody loves the hayride and the cool kid with the slick back hair. I get all that. But I am a jumpsuit guy. I
Hmm.
am a 68 comeback special Las Vegas Elvis fan. That is the shit that I love. And it's
Hmm.
because, look, all the early stuff is great, but he sang like a young man. Then he joined the army. Then he came home. Then he did the comeback special. And he was a grown ass fucking adult. And boy, he sang like one. And his voice is just so crushingly powerful in his 30s. It was just, oh my God. So I'm glad we're covering all that. I think that's quite cool.
How, even uh, throughout the majority of the trailer, I mean, it's Unchained Melody that they're playing, so you got to have Jumpsuit Elvis. You're going to be doing that song.
Absolutely true. It's the truth, man. So yes, this is what I'm talking about. So I'm very excited about that for a couple of reasons. Like it's Baz, man. Love Baz
Yeah,
Luhrmann. So we're good to go.
heck yeah. I've dug pretty much everything he's done, man. And when I saw his name pop up, I was like, oh man, this is going to be crazy kooky.
Yeah, that was the thing when you send it to me, man. I'm like, oh, cool. We'll start this up. What's up? As soon as it got to the logo and it's like Truth, Beauty, Freedom, Love, I'm like, oh my God, Baz Luhrmann is doing an Elvis movie. I was so excited.
Even, the scenes of Elvis as a little kid and he's reading this Captain Marvel comic book. I'm like, man, this is right up my alley.
But that's something that interesting. That was something that I like is that he's reading this comic and then he runs to the church and he's got his little lightning
Thunderbolt.
medallion on. His little cardboard lightning medallion on.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last thing in the preview. What is the last thing in the preview? The TCB
TCB
logo. Exactly. I'm like, the fact that they are going to play up Freddie Freeman, I love that because that is a cool part of the Elvis story, man. It's like, this is just awesome. I'm very excited.
That's, one of the cool things I always heard was the story of he didn't do the James Brown full on robe cape. He did his short cape. That was Captain Marvel cape.
That's what Captain Marvel had, exactly.
Yeah. I don't need all that.
Yeah.
Okay, baby. Well, two people know it.
Well, two people know it.
Chinese is king. Oh, karate chop, man. Man, I didn't watch the live AEW pay-per-view last Sunday, but I feel like I did with all the stuff I heard about this week, and it was tons of fun.
I didn't. It's strange because sometimes I look into them and sometimes I don't. And this one, you know, the dividing line for me is FTR. If FTR are on it, I'll think about it, and if they're not, I'm okay. And when I looked up and down the slate, I'm like, okay, that's cool, but there's nothing on there I got to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the results came in and I looked at everything, I'm like, damn, there really wasn't nothing on there I needed to see. So I'm quite happy to have skipped that one for a couple of reasons. The main one is that nothing changed hands. Like all the titles stayed put, which is fine, especially when they set it up to where Sammy Guevara lost the TNT on the next. I think it was Dynamite. Might have been right. I think it was Dynamite, and that's cool. But it's just weird to have what they have 4 title matches and none of them changed. And I don't know which one I would. I'd probably, honest to God, I would probably have moved the title off Britt Baker. Man, it just seems to me that Britt's been exposed, man. People surely to God have figured out by now that if she's not working with Thunder Rosa, it's not the same. I know everybody loves her because she's cutie pie, but get the fuck out of here, man. She ain't all that. It's too early to take Jade's title off of her, so it doesn't need to be that one. But
yeah, I felt you could almost feel like it's coming, but they're really hyping up the whole. I think is it. I don't know if it's this week or the next week that it's Dynamite in El Paso,
San Antonio, yeah.
San Antonio.
And I think you're right. I think that I can't imagine she won't win that one.
Yeah, man. So you put the pause button on that one. I would have probably moved the tag titles.
I got no problem with moving the tag titles. I can see sitting on them for a minute. I don't really know who they want to move them to, because that was part of my thing was whenever you had the Young Bucks and Red Dragon in there, I'm like, no, man, the money is that match between those guys, man. That's why I thought FTR should have been the ones to go and fight the Jurassic Express and beat them. So it's like, okay. So I just can't figure out what they're gonna do. If they're serious about fucking Moxley and Dragon, Jesus Christ, I'll hit the pause button on AEW until they get that shit out of their systems. I'm telling, if they move those tag titles to those guys, I will throw the fuck up, man. But that was the big one from the pay-per-view. What the fuck is Moxley doing beating Dragon? What the hell sense does that make at all? I can clear it up. Creative control. That's the one. Mox is the one that's got fucking veto power. I'm telling you, he does. The only thing he couldn't override was Kenny Omega. That's why he wanted that stupid horseshit ending to be like, "Oh, there's got to be interference." And you got whacked on the head with a microphone. I mean, get the fuck. Oh my God, it's the worst. But Moxley beating Danielson makes no fucking sense. None. Like absolutely no sense. That was the dumbest thing. Maybe on that whole show. I myself think Wardlow winning the face of the Revolution is quite stupid, but there are reviews that I've heard about that. They're like, no, that had to happen because he has been floundering. And they're right. He hasn't done anything. So maybe they're right, man.
Yeah. There were several guys in that match that you could make a case for. I think he was, was the one that had the strongest one.
I can dig it. I think my thing is I'm not interested in him.
Yeah.
But that's not a good enough. That's not a good reason to say no. What they did was wrong. I didn't care for it, but again, like I said, I listened to a couple of reviews, and they just did a really good job of like explaining. No, this is actually quite good booking, and I'm like, you know what? That's a strong case, man. That's pretty good. So I can dig that.
Yeah.
I think the thing with the tag titles again, when you wind up with Dragon Bucks, it's like you have to leave them on Jurassic Express because who wins them, Anyhow,
That was my one hang up about it, is like I feel like that change is coming, but with the other two teams in that match, like, we can't really do one or the other. So it should have been a telegraph to me that it's not happening. But I was like, I don't know. I probably would have. Moxley and Danielson things. It was just an avenue to get William Regal over, and
I guess
I guess he's going to be part of their. He's going to be their Arn Anderson or Tully or whatever it's going to be.
it's feeling that way. Um, the thing about the tag titles is if I don't know, man. I guess you got to use that to get your supreme heels over. So I just don't know. I can't figure out what they're going to do. I'm hoping. I would love it if they would coordinate Red Dragon winning those titles with Adam Cole winning the world title, and then he basically gets to pick, and it's all like they're the champs, got to go with the champs, and then you can give us all the 6-man that we want whenever Kenny's ready to come back, because Kenny and the Young Bucks against Cole and Red Dragon, come on, man, who would not,
Yep.
who wouldn't want to see that? Basically, Undisputed Era against the Elite, everybody wants to see that.
Yeah. I feel like that's coming. It's got to be something they're building towards.
I think so too. I don't remember exactly what Kenny's timeline is, or if there's even been one said, But yeah, I think whenever he's ready to come back, we'll move towards that. Having the Adam Cole, Red Dragon, Young Bucks like little cluster until you decide to blow it off that way is cool. That's cool with me, man. So it's quite fun. I saw something on AEW that I was really impressed with, and I know it wasn't the pay-per-view because again, it's not. They're always good shows, but I'm with you. I had no problem skipping it, and then I saw the results, and I'm like, okay, good. But man, I did see something on there that made me really happy. I mean, the Jeff Hardy thing is great, but we talked about it. I think it's wild they got that music, man. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah, man.
that is flexion, because it's all like, oh, you want it? Well, I'm going to run the cost up to whatever. Okay, here's your check. I mean, that's scary stuff, man. Cesaro hasn't shown up yet. I really hope he does. I would love it if he did, because I'm very selfish, but I want Claudio to go to AEW just so him and Chugs can play video games again.
Yeah.
I was talking with someone at work about that. Like, you cannot possibly think that's actually a factor. I'm like, you bet your fucking ass I think that's a factor. You are telling a grown ass adult man, you can't do that anymore unless you give me a cut. Okay. I'll just let my contract run out and not sign another one. I was like, I have no doubt whatsoever that happened. I said, man, how many people do you know that are actual gamers? I mean, real ones. Because I guarantee you, any of them would do the exact same thing if you try and pull that bullshit on them, man. I don't understand. How can Vince just take their money? And I'm like, well, you'd have to investigate Connecticut state law. And basically what Connecticut state law says is that if you are an LLC, if you're a corporation, contracts don't mean anything to you. You can rewrite those sons of bitches in real time and nobody can say it. That's why everybody is incorporated there. It's not just Vince. I mean, if you look up and down, like GE and God, there's another like massive one that of course is incorporated in Connecticut because it basically makes you God. You can do whatever the hell you want to. No recourse, no nothing. So, but yeah, so that's just video games. And I'm like, yeah, but to them it ain't. It's not. They really love these things. And also with someone like Claudio, it's principle, man. It's like, no, we had a deal and you reneged on it, so I'm out. Fuck you. And I'm like, good. The other thing is, It's Claudio Castagnoli, man. That guy could show up tomorrow, and he's so good. He's just so freaking good that I hope he goes, because that's everyone's thinks. He'll do better in New Japan. He should go to New Japan. I'm like, he can go to New Japan if he wants to, because he can still Skype in and play video games without him go. But
Yeah.
I think he likes Florida, so we'll see. But either
I
way,
heard they're
that was either
restarting
way.
the Handsome Boy Championship Wrestling, which I'm going to call Ring of Honor, which
Dude,
so I'll go down there.
the Ring of Honor thing is very interesting. I love that happened. I'm very excited to see some of the crossover stuff. I think all of the people that immediately went from who's Cody wrestling at WrestleMania to Cody's gonna go run Ring of Honor. I think they might be onto something. That'd be cool as hell, man. I think that would just be awesome. The other factor in that, and this is a negative factor, but it's a factor. WWE don't have any interest in Brandy at all. But if you go to Ring of Honor,
Yeah.
you got leverage. She'll have a
There
job.
you have it.
Yeah, dude, it's hard to not be like, yeah, I can see that being
That's the fact of the matter.
It's the truth. And the whole thing is, man, Cody going back to WWE has felt like bullshit since the day it came up. I just, nobody in WWE, I think, has said anything. I haven't heard anything from anybody there. Haven't heard anything. It just all seems like we're having fun on the internet. And that's okay. That's totally all right. But, excuse me, the Ring of Honor thing is awesome. And there are several people on that roster that, I mean, Danhausen versus Dalton Castle, man. Are you kidding me? Oh, you can sign that up for tomorrow. I can't wait.
Yep. Get down with that.
Yeah, I mean, y'all already know my number one, and I can't wait for that. But I guess that's what I was trying to do with fast tracking FTR becoming the champs against Jurassic Express. Is I need them to plow their way through the tag division so they can cut the can't nobody around here do nothing about it, so that you can bring in the Briscoes. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I am
Finally.
I'm excited about Jeff and Matt being back together, just because Hardy Boys Private Party has been, I mean, the second you saw Private Party, it's like, come on, man. We've all been waiting for it, so that's going to be exciting.
Heck yeah. I'm really looking forward to that.
Me too, man. This is awesome. And as far as the going before the pay-per-view, the little tag team battle royal thing, I can never remember what they call them. But man, how nice was it to see Top Flight again? It was really good, because I love those guys. So it was real cool to see them together again. I'm like, oh, this is just too good, man.
That's good stuff, man.
I agree. I agree. I'm glad that Scorpio Sky, I love Scorpio, so I'm glad he's the champ. I'm still not sure about Andrade. That's what I would have done. The whole Spanish God thing is like, okay, God, come get you a taste of the idol. I just thought that was a cooler idea. But anyway, Scorpio's the man, so I'm glad he's got it. Not sure. I don't know. Anyhow, I guess that's also my thing with the Face of the Revolution or whatever it's called, man, is I'm like, I want Keith Lee to win that. But unfortunately, I'm probably just hitting the gas too quick on all of these things. And so I need to just chill out and let them do what they're going to do. Because, again, like I was saying, man, with no title changes, and then they switched the TNT. And I'm like, yeah, man, I just thought Thunder Rosa should win. But you're exactly right, because they are playing up the San Antonio show, and that works way better. So, I gotta start being more patient.
Man, that was the a part of what I think it was even Marty and Sarah that brought up the fact. I think it was a lead in to the pay-per-view. Thunder Rosa wins, and your WWE brain's like, well, that means she's not winning at the pay-per-view. It's like, yeah, and turned out we were right. So WWE is trained as well.
Yeah, dude, seriously. It's like, well, okay, you know what that means.
It's in this bizarro universe, you win in your hometown.
Yeah, dude, seriously. I don't know. I don't know about that, brother.
I don't know about that, dude. As long as your hometown isn't Chicago, you can win there.
Yeah, dude, you'll be fine. It'll be okay. I read some complaints about the dog collar match that, well, Punk can't go like he used to, and I'm like, 7 fucking years, you think? But mostly what I read about that, I've read several people say the thing with the dog collar match is that there's a whole lot of people in the fandom right now that don't know how to watch matches like that. It's like, it's like they were really, Punk and MJF both really leaned heavily into Valentine Piper, which was just brutality, like slow, just thumping each other, brutality. And it's like people don't see that anymore. They don't get it. And I was like, maybe that is what was going on. I think most people really liked it, but the complaints that I heard were, Punk just can't go anymore. And it's like, that pace is intentional, man. It's like this is a big deal. It's like you know, remember when Magnum stuck the spike in Tully's head and he submitted?
Yeah.
That took time for a reason, because if he just cut his head off, then it would have been different. Submit by default.
Yep. That's something you got to build to.
Yeah, Tully comes out next week holding his own severed head. I never quit, Magnum.
Yeah. I'm still here.
You never got me to say I quit. And Magnum comes out, just hits his hand. Oh, you jerk!
Oh God! Oh God! Man, that was some of the crappy WWE news that came out Friday. I felt kind of bad because I had a friend that went to the show in Birmingham. Is Big E in the neck break? It's like, dang, that sucks.
I was reading some details about that yesterday, because I heard he got injured, and then you started seeing some of the tweets, and it's all like, oh, this is serious shit.
Yeah.
But the doctor I don't know if it was the doctor that examined him or if he was just giving his take. He was explaining that he broke C1.
That's serious.
Yeah, C1 is almost always instant paralysis and usually death. So the fact the guy is alive is awesome. I hate if it's going to cost him his career in the ring. Clearly, obviously, in the ring is Big E, man. They'll give him a microphone, so and that's cool. They'll take care of him, and he'll have a nice job, and that's good. So at least he can still be in the business and in the profession, and he'll be able to walk around and hang out with his significant other if he's got one, his kids if he's got them. It's just like, I just heard C1. I'm like, oh my God, that's that's base of the skull shit. That's the top, man. So it's just. I'd never heard of anybody breaking C1, and then when the guy explained, normally that's paraplegia. I'm like, oh my God, man. So I hate it, but I'm also so happy about it, because, man, who doesn't love that guy, man? It's really the New Day top to bottom. Who does not love those guys? We all love those guys.
Yeah,
but
man.
my main thing was, thank God he is okay, and he's awesome on the mic. Wouldn't matter if he wasn't. They'd find something for him to do, but they don't have to look very hard, is what I mean. So that's really good. So we still get to all hang out and have a good time, because he's Big E, man.
Yeah, man. It's one of those things I thought, man, that's a bummer, but there's worse stuff that could happen,
Oh, man, it's awful, just because we'll miss him, because he's great. Excuse me, but I apologize, y'all. I'm like you said, I'm glad it wasn't worse. That's just great.
Heck yeah. There was as one of those right before I logged on tonight to talk to you, I noticed there was a Hollywood loss today where William Hurt passed away today.
I hadn't heard that, man. That sucks, dude.
Yeah, man. It was a bummer, but at the same time, it's I don't know if he had been sick or what the deal is or what the cause is. I just saw that he had passed away at like 71. I was like, oh man. The good news is in the Marvel movies you can live on whether you're here or not. So that's part of the good side of that coin. But that was a bummer.
Yeah, man. It's weird. I'm not really kind of out of the loop today, man. I know we can discuss our hats, because I know those boys had a real nice night. Number 11 for those boys had a real nice night, man. Trey had 33 at halftime, man. It's our 31, I think. I don't remember, but he just went buck wild crazy in the first half. And then these fellas, I'm happy to say, nice, got the train back on the tracks, because match day 1 was fun. Match day 2 was hard, but boy, today they played against Charlotte, which is very cool. They won 2-1, which is real cool, but I might have my timeline wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was in my car, and turned on the radio, and we got a penalty. So I'm like, oh yeah, all right, this is cool, man. So right at about the hour mark, Joe takes the penalty. We're up 1-0. So I come home, I park my car, come in for break, man. And by the time I get in the house, it's 1-1. So I'm like, well, what the hell? But I did get to see the rest of the game, which is awesome. And like the stoppage time beyond belief. Like in the 95th, 96th minute, we get a nice deflection, goes in, they win 2-1. So it was awesome. It's really nice to see it. And I love the boys, so I'm glad the boys won. And Atlanta Charlotte is interesting because, again, the Atlanta Orlando thing is very prefabricated, and it's kind of a square peg round hole kind of a situation. Nashville would be the team that I would most wish to have a rivalry with, but we kind of can't. But the Charlotte thing is quite interesting because with the United being owned by the Falcons owner, Charlotte FC is owned by the Panthers owner. That's why they're playing in Bank of America up there. And it's all like, we're going to break your attendance record and we're going to have all the fans. But they're not, because I think Charlotte will enjoy the team. I think they'll have a real good time with it. But they ain't getting 74,000 people to go watch that team because Atlanta was waiting for this. We've talked about it, man. That's what people don't. If you don't live here, you don't understand why Atlanta United was Atlanta United. But the reason Atlanta United was what it was is because the kids of all the people that moved here and brought the Pittsburgh Steelers with them don't have that. Atlanta United is this brand new thing out of nothing, and it's like, that's my team, and that's exactly why it's cool. It's why it's cool they're called United, which soccer teams, there's a lot of them called United. But with Atlanta explaining that it's all like, man, this is for the city. This is for Atlanta sports fans. You know, the ones that are always had shit talked about them and how, there's no loyalty. Nobody in Atlanta, get the fuck out of here. But that was such an awesome idea. I'm not saying Charlotte can't have that. I'm saying they don't have that. So I don't expect them to be selling out that stadium anytime soon. I understand why they play there, but it's just, I feel bad because they were yesterday. I can't believe I forgot who they were playing. I think it was LAFC and Miami were playing each other. And so Miami's out there in their cool pink uniforms and they're in their stadium, and it's a soccer specific Major League Soccer stadium. And I'm like, that's it. I love where United play. But the stadiums that are built for the league, specifically for the league, man, they are just beautiful. They are so cool. And that's not what Atlanta was going for. Atlanta built a World Cup facility, and I get that. But it's so cool. Like, nah, you don't have to play in NFL stadiums all the time, man. This is when you build specifically, this is really cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
College atmosphere kind of fit vibe.
It's just cool. You don't need 100,000 seats, man. You don't, because you're not going to sell them. You're just not. So it's cool. You can aim for the mid-20s. You can go for 30. It's fine. I know Atlanta gets a lot of people, but that's not success for everybody. It's just one of those things where, again, now anybody less than 40,000, it's like, well, it's kind of a bad turnout. The fuck out of here, man. Are you kidding me? If you average 20,000 a game for an MLS game, that is awesome. That is fantastic. So I just wish that we would keep things on the proper scale, because success in Atlanta ain't like anywhere else. Nobody does it. Atlanta and Seattle, we're the only two clubs in the entire league that routinely turn out gigantic numbers of fans, and you don't have to do that to be successful. I think putting yourself in the position to be like, we're going to do it, that's a mistake, man. Don't do that. Don't do that, because the biggest thing you got to ask yourself about Charlotte is, you're going to put the money up. Because Arthur Blank put the fucking money up, man, and it's like, okay, if you're that serious, okay then. But nah, if all you want to do is, cross your fingers and click your heels together and be like, we're going to be successful like Atlanta. The fuck you won't. No, you won't. It's like, no, it's not luck. Atlanta's not lucky. They knew what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Or they hired people to do what they were doing. That's what I should say.
Yeah. It was one of those, I don't know, you can't even call it lightning in the bottle kind of situations. It was just like by design.
They knew. Yeah, absolutely. They took a really long time and were like, A, B, C, D. Got sidetracked trying to find the right coach there for a minute, but I hope we have now. I'm telling you, man. And this goes back to last year when they brought him in. It's like it finally felt like we were settled, and it's like, okay, this you can build something out of this. Because again, he got in with guys that weren't even his guys, and really got us playing well. So it's like, okay, let's see what we can do with our guys. Twice this year, they've looked real good. They looked real good today. That was the coolest thing about today's game. And credit to Charlotte too, man, for an expansion team, which that doesn't always mean anything in Major League Soccer because the draft is so wide open. This is like we did our first year. We were real good. A lot of teams are really good their first year. But man, Charlotte showed up and played. It was exciting as hell. That game was awesome today. I had it on I put the little Odyssey app in my phone so I can keep it in my pocket at work and just listen, just see what's going on.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was actually quite fun. I was hoping that would work because I work a lot of Sundays, man. And I'm like, okay, well, if I can check out with the boys, that'll be okay. And it was quite nice.
Cool, man.
Like I said, compounded by the fact that the Hawks also won, which I love because I love United, but the Hawks are that's my number one. That's my sporting obsession.
Heck yeah, man.
Hell yeah, man. That's the guys. Excuse me.
That's what's up, man.
That is what's up, dude. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Y'all, thank you for watching.
We'll see y'all, man.
Yeah.
Ah.